Good morning and welcome to the Kessler Law Firm podcast. I'm your host, Michael Kessler, and today we're going to shift gears and instead of talking about the law, we're going to talk about baseball and we're going to talk about my mom. My mother, God bless her, is a lifelong baseball fan. She cried with her father when Bobby Thompson hit the home run heard around the world. She is, I won't tell you how old she is, but she recently had a birthday. And around the time of her birthday, I learned something about her. Now, I want you to understand, I've known this woman my whole life. And I just discovered at her birthday about a month ago that she has a bucket list. So I asked her when I found out, what's on your bucket list? And she said she wanted to visit the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. Now, I don't have a bucket list, but that's someplace I've always wanted to visit. So I sprang into action and booked us plane tickets to fly to New York to visit the Hall of Fame. Now, for those of you who have never visited the Hall of Fame, it's in a village called Cooperstown, and you can't fly there. What you have to do is fly to a somewhat nearby airport. We chose Albany, which is an hour and a half drive away. So we flew into Albany on the Friday of Labor Day weekend, stayed in a hotel near the airport, rented a car, of course, got a good night's sleep, and drove the hour and a half through the rain the next morning to Cooperstown. Cooperstown is a village that is devoted almost entirely to baseball. The only shops I noticed that didn't specifically feature baseball in either their names or their windows provided food for baseball fans. Anyhow, we went into the Baseball Hall of Fame Museum. This is first class all the way. It's a 3-story museum. They tell you to start on the second floor where they have about a 15-minute or so video. And it is magnificent, well produced with photos and video and audio and some of the great events in baseball history. Being a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, as you can see, I was delighted to see Roberto Clemente running the bases. I was thrilled to see Bill Mazeroski hitting the most famous home run in World Series history. You should know Bill Mazeroski hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth of Game 7 of the 1960 World Series. It is still the one and only time in the history of Major League Baseball that a World Series has ended on a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth of Game 7. Now, some of you will say, wait a minute. Joe Carter did it for the Toronto Blue Jays in 1993. And you're right, he did, except that was Game 6. Maz is still the one and only guy who ever hit a home run in the bottom of the ninth of Game 7 to decide the World Series. In fact, that has to do with my very favorite baseball trivia question. And here it goes. I mean, everybody knows Mazeroski hit the home run. And most people who follow baseball know that Ralph Terry was the unfortunate Yankees pitcher who gave up the home run. But most people can't tell you who was the Yankees left fielder who had to trot back to the wall, look up, and watch the World Series game-winning home run sail over his head and over the wall. Now, some people will guess Mickey Mantle, but he was in center field. Other people might guess Roger Maris, but he was in right field. The answer, of course, was Yogi Berra, the Hall of Fame catcher. You see, the Yankees that year had two great catchers, Yogi Berra and Elston Howard, and their manager wanted both bats in the lineup for Game 7. So he put Howard behind the plate and sent Yogi out to left field. For those of you who play baseball trivia with their friends for money, or more importantly, for pride, you're welcome. So Mom and I tour the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's a self-guided tour, so you walk around at your own pace. And she went to see all of the Braves memorabilia and plaques and stories and displays that float her boat. And I was looking at the pictures of old Forbes Field and Three Rivers Stadium and magnificent PNC Park, which is the current home of the Pirates. First big league game I ever went to, my parents took me to old Forbes Field in way back in 1969. And I saw Willie Stargell hit 2 home runs off Rick Wise. I guess I became a baseball fan that day. Anyhow, it's a terrific tour. And now I can tell people I've been in the Hall of Fame and Pete Rose hasn't. That's funny to me, but actually it's not completely true. There is a display to Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame Museum. It outlines his terrific career and the fact that he had more base hits than any other player who ever played Major League Baseball. But it does say that he's been suspended for life for gambling. There also are some displays for the steroid guys, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Roger Clemens, and some others. But they're not admitted to the Hall of Fame. They're not members of the Hall of Fame. They were not voted in. And their displays, not to be confused with Hall of Fame plaques, their displays say why they're not admitted to the Hall of Fame. Back down on the first floor, you can find the plaques themselves. Every single player, manager, owner, sportscaster, anybody who has been voted admitted to the Baseball Hall of Fame has his own individual plaque. I sought out my hero, Roberto Clemente's plaque. I found Lou Gehrig's, Babe Ruth's. I mean, I looked at them all, but I paid special attention to Willie Stargell, to Bill Mazeroski, to guys I saw play. It was a wonderful day, and Mom had a great time too. And when we were done, well, we doubled back to the second floor and watched the video again. It's that good. The one display that actually got to me was a quote by Jim Bouton, the former Yankees, Seattle, Houston, and many others pitcher who wrote the expose of baseball, Ball 4, which was basically a tell-all diary of his experiences during 1969. Anyway, this display has a quote from Jim Bouton that reads, "I spent 20 years gripping a baseball only to find out it was the other way around." That's how I feel about baseball. My mom and dad introduced me to baseball. I've spent a lifetime enjoying it. I introduced it to my kids. I hope they'll introduce it to theirs. On the way home, feeling a great sense of accomplishment, I turned to my mom and I said, "That was a great trip. What's next on your bucket list?" And she turned to me and, in apparent complete sincerity, she said, "I don't have a bucket list." Thank you for putting up with this stray away from the law today. And thanks for joining us on this episode of the Kessler Law Firm podcast. Whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to it on your favorite podcasting site, please click subscribe or follow. So next time you come back, our latest podcasts will be ready and waiting for you. If you'd like to connect and find out more about us, visit our website at www.kesslerlawfirm.com. And your cheerful host, Michael Kessler, signing off. Play ball.